So a very good morning to our all guests and students. I feel immensely pleased as I extend a very warm welcome to you all on behalf of PG Department of English, SCT Government College, Ludhiana. It's a great pleasure to have you all today with us on this virtual platform for a thought-provoking workshop on understanding culture nuances in translation. When I say translation, especially literary one, it reminds me of an idiom in English that is Herculean task. Yes, it is a challenging work and quite an important one. I said it is important for unless done properly, it will neither shape a reader's understanding of the source text, nor will it create his right response towards it. So it won't be an exaggeration if I say that translation is an art that has the ability to recreate the original aroma of a text in another language without losing its inherent magnificence. How myriad words come to our mind when we try to translate. How sometimes even a single word bothers a translator. And how a translator steers his way successfully out of the labyrinth of the language are the kind of questions that will be pondered upon today by a very, very eminent speaker. Friends, I feel greatly proud to state that we have amongst us a very renowned personality from the world of translation. I would request our worthy Head Department of English, Dr. Tanveer Lakhari ji, to kindly introduce the resource person to our audience. Over to Ma'am Tanveer ji. Ma'am Tanveer ji, kindly introduce our resource person to our audience. Am I audible, guys? Am I audible, guys?
Yes, we're audible.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I would request our Head Department of English, Dr. Tanveer Lakhari ji, to kindly introduce a resource person.
I'm not audible.
Ma'am, you're audible now.
You're audible, ma'am.
Am I audible now?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Do I have to repeat what I said?
No, dear, no.
Okay.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, you are audible. Hanji, ma'am.
Principal Dr. Gurpreet Kaur Sandhu ji, our esteemed speaker for the day, Dr. Hina Nandra Jog, Principal Vivekanand College, New Delhi, our friends and colleagues from other colleges who have joined us online, our members of the faculty, and my very, very dear students. I wish you all a very, very warm welcome today to our event on a workshop on understanding cultural nuances in translation. It's my proud privilege and honor to present to you today's speaker, Dr. Hina Nandra Jog, who is also Principal Vivekanand College in New Delhi. Dr. Hina, after completing her MPhil from the University of Delhi, was awarded her PhD from Punjabi University, Patiala. She is a renowned academic, scholar, critic, teacher, and translator. She translates from Hindi and Punjabi into English, and she has won several awards. Starting back from the College Roll of Honor in 1985, there was no looking back for her. She won the Katha Prize for Translation in 1999. Then yet another Katha Prize for Translation 2 years later in 2001. And then she was given the Sahitya Academy Award for Translation in 2007. Our esteemed speaker is a versatile personality. He has not just been the recipient of awards, but has also been on the panel of jury for Sahitya Academy Prize in 2008. He has been part of several very prestigious translation projects for names like the National Book Trust of India, the Sahitya Academy, the Culture for Development of Punjabi Language and Culture, and the Punjabi Academy, the Center for Academic Translation and Archiving at the University of Delhi and the UGC. The list of her achievements and academic interests is exhaustive and extensive. And if I go through all of them, I think we will run out of our Zoom time. So we will just take a short peek at it. She has served on deputation to the Institute of Lifelong Learning, University of Delhi, and has been actively involved in creating e-content. She was also on deputation to the Cluster Innovation Center, University of Delhi, where in addition to her teaching work, she guided research projects and modules on innovation and social intervention projects. And many of the modules that she did were on various issues like sexual harassment, domestic violence, rag pickers, saving waste, and on delinquent children. In addition to that, she has also helped organize workshops on Indian Sign Language for police and hospital personnel. She has also guided many students for their MPhil and PhD degrees. And like she's conducting a workshop for us today here, she has conducted several workshops in the in the colleges of Delhi, and has served as resource person in several courses. A few of them I will just name. In the Sahitya Academy workshop for translation in 2010, the translation and interpretation workshop at the University of Delhi in 2013, British Center for Translation for British Council. Dr. Nandra Jog is an avid scholar as well, and she has presented several papers at national and international conferences both in India and abroad. And there is yet another feather in her cap among the many, and that is that she is part of the ambitious project of Punjabi University to translate Baba Khan Singh Mahakosh. So Vita, we couldn't have chosen our dear guest, we couldn't have chosen a better person to address you on the subject of translation. She has translated many books as well. And we are indeed very lucky, Dr. Hina, to have you with us here today and address our faculty and students. But before we call on Dr. Hina to address our students, I invite Madam Principal, Dr. Gurpreet Kaur Sandhu, to please address our students. Right, ma'am, please.
Audible? Am I audible, please?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Dr. Tanveer Sachdevaji. Very good morning to all the learned faculty members and our very dear students and our special guest, Dr. Hina Nandraju, Principal, Vivekanand College, New Delhi, and recipient of Sahitya Academy Award in translation. So I am really happy to welcome you, ma'am, in our college, in the virtual platform of our college. You are involved in translation, as I have heard from Ma'am Tanveer, and it is really a very difficult part in the what I feel that knowing just one language is very difficult. So you are involved in translation, that means you know two languages perfectly well. So I am from the field of management, and there we always stress the need to communicate. So communication means passing information with understanding. So as just now Pooja ma'am said that the translator, whoever is translating, so he has to take care or she has to take care that whatever we are translating, the soul of the message has not to be changed. It has to be conveyed as it is, and which is a very difficult part of translation, and you are doing this. So I am really impressed. The person who can do it and do it to the best, कि आपको अवार्ड वगैरह मिले हैं, इसका मतलब है कि आप अपने जो फील्ड है उसमें एक्सपर्ट हैं. तो ये चीज़ें जो है एक्चुअली हमारे स्टूडेंट्स के सीखने वाली हैं कि आजकल मैंने देखा है कि बच्चों में ये चीज़ें काफ़ी ज़्यादा कम हो रही हैं बिकॉज ऑफ द सोशल मीडिया। बच्चे जो हैं वो इंग्लिश और हिंदी और पंजाबी दोनों को मिक्स करके लिखते हैं। तो एक लैंग्वेज पे इतना होल्ड होना कि एक लैंग्वेज में ही हम सब कुछ अपना फीलिंग्स हैं या जो मैसेज है उसको एक्सप्रेस कर सके और फिर दूसरी लैंग्वेज में उसको कन्वर्ट कर सके। जैसे हमने तो ट्रांसलेशन सिर्फ इंग्लिश के पेपर में ही की है कि उसमें एक ट्रांसलेशन का पैसेज आता था और एक रीट्रांसलेशन। ट्रांसलेशन में पंजाबी से हमने इंग्लिश करनी और इंग्लिश से हमने हिंदी या पंजाबी में करना और बहुत डिफिकल्ट लगता था कि हमारा पूरा ठीक होगा ही नहीं कभी। सो आप ये कर रही हैं, तो मस्ट बी हैविंग सो मच ऑफ एक्सपर्टीज। सो I welcome you, ma'am, to our virtual Veda. If you understand, I think Veda means कि platform है, so हमारा पंजाबी word है. So I like to call this virtual Veda of SCD Government College. आपने अपने busy schedule में से time निकाला हमारे लिए, हमारे बच्चों के लिए, and you are very welcome, and we are very thankful to you. And I am also I want to thank our English department जिन्होंने who have been instrumental in arranging this function. ये जो arrange किया है, आपको बुलाया है, तो बहुत अच्छा है. These kind of activities are must for the grooming of the students. क्योंकि स्टूडेंट्स जो हैं आजकल एक तो वैसे ही कॉलेजेस नहीं लग रहे हैं, तो जो हमारी स्टडीज है, हमारी टीचिंग है, ये पहले ही सफर कर रही है, पर ये चीजें जो है वी कैन कंटिन्यू विद देम थ्रू द इंफॉर्मेशन एंड कम्युनिकेशन टेक्नोलॉजी. तो वी आर थैंकफुल टू गॉड कि हमारे पास ये सारे इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स हैं जिससे हम कनेक्ट कर सकते हैं. अगर ये दूसरा वाला टाइम होता तो आपको दिल्ली से आना पड़ता. तो अभी क्या है कि दिल्ली में रह के ही हम बहुत इजीली ये सब कुछ जो है अरेंज कर सकते हैं. एंड अ स्मॉल लिटिल मैसेज फॉर द स्टूडेंट्स कि स्टूडेंट्स को इस टाइम में ड्यूरिंग दीज डिफिकल्ट टाइम्स ऑफ पेंडेमिक दे मस्ट नॉट कि अच्छा टाइम नहीं है, उनके टाइम वेस्ट हो रहा है, नेगेटिव जो है फीलिंग्स नहीं लेनी चाहिए. दे मस्ट कॉन्सेंट्रेट ऑन गुड टीचिंग हैबिट्स और उसके साथ में एक्सरसाइजिंग, और उसके साथ में दूसरा पढ़ना तो उन्होंने है ही है क्योंकि एग्जाम वैसे आजकल ऑनलाइन ही हो गया, बट स्टिल नॉलेज तो उनको चाहिए अगर उन्होंने लेटर ऑन अपने लाइफ में इफ दे वांट टू डू वेल. और उसके साथ थर्ड चीज विच आई स्ट्रेस फॉर आवर स्टूडेंट्स, दिस इज अ मैसेज फॉर स्टूडेंट्स दैट वी मस्ट ऑलवेज रिमेंबर दैट. तो ये तीन चीजों को अगर हम कर लें, अपनी जिंदगी का पार्ट बना लें, तो कोई भी जो डिफिकल्ट टाइम है उसको हम क्या कर सकते हैं, ओवरकम कर सकते हैं. और थर्ड है पॉजिटिविटी रखनी चाहिए लाइफ में. नथिंग इज परमानेंट इन दिस लाइफ. तो ये डिफिकल्ट टाइम्स भी जो है परमानेंट नहीं होंगे, दे विल गो अवे इन देयर ओन टाइम. तो ये सब कुछ जो है व्हाटएवर हैपेंस, सब कुछ जो है दैट्स द गुड पार्ट जो ये दुनिया है, इसमें ये सारा कुछ जो है दैट इज फॉर अ पर्टिकुलर पीरियड ऑफ टाइम. अपना उसमें टाइम पूरा करके अपने आप यहाँ से चले जाना है. सो बैड टाइम्स विल ऑल्सो गो. इफ गुड टाइम्स आर देयर तो बैड टाइम्स विल ऑल्सो नॉट कंटिन्यू. तो कुछ टाइम में ये भी चेंज हो जाएगा. देन वी विल बी एबल टू मीट फिजिकली एंड in the end again I bless the students that they will learn to adjust to this situation. Okay? And I again welcome you, Hina ma'am, and I am again thankful to the English department. So मैंने ऐसे सुना था पहले, कई लोग कहते हैं कि English department is the most elite department of the college anywhere. So मेरे को आज लग रहा है सारों को इकट्ठा देख के, the stars of our college are here together. All I can see them all. So बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है मैम आपका डिपार्टमेंट देख के वर्चुअली. और thank you very much for giving me time to connect with the students. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, ma'am, principal, for your beautiful words for our wonderful guest. and your very, very relevant suggestions for our students. I totally personally agree with you, ma'am, principal, when you said that positivity is something that is the need of the day today. And it is positivity that gives us hope, and it is hope that sustains life. So you are very, very right. And we totally agree with you and with your words. And ma'am, we are thankful more so for your presence here with us. Thank you for sparing time for us. And now I think it is time for me to invite a revered guest whose achievements you all have heard. They are commendable. I mean, ma'am, I have already become a great fan of yours. Commendable achievements, ma'am. And we feel so proud to have you here with us today. So I would request Dr. Hina Nandrajo, Principal, Vivekanand College, New Delhi. Respected ma'am, kindly take over this platform and address our audience. Ma'am, please, over to you. Over to ma'am Hina.
Good morning. It's such a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, and thank you, Dr. Gurpreet. Thank you, the English department, and all my colleagues in the English department, and the students who have connected today. My CV, I hope it sounded as impressive as it did, and I was myself surprised that it's made to sound much greater than I think it is. So thank you, Tanveer, for the boost. And I can only say that I think when we all reflect on what we have done, we will realize that we are people of many parts, and that we do multifarious things. It's only that we don't sometimes catalog them or realize the things that we are interested in. So I don't think that my achievements have been anything extraordinary. And when I talk about translation today, I can tell you that the work of translation is something that will always keep our feet to the ground, because it is always such an agonizing, such a humbling experience to not ever feel satisfied with what one has done, to always feel that there is something lacking, that there is something lost in translation, that there is some connect that one has not been able to make. So in that sense, it's almost like prayers to God. It's almost like yoga for me personally, because it seems as if it's something that you keep striving for and trying to attain. And the closer you are able to reach, the greater the sense of joy, the greater the sense of elation. So I've put together a short PPT of, in fact, things that I have already done earlier, and I've tried to keep it very simple, because I think this is to connect with students who are primarily undergraduate and graduate students, postgraduate students. So the idea is just to introduce what is translation and the various nuances that we look for. I love the expression that you used for this online Veda. And I think one of the greatest things about translation is that the moment we, our ears hear a new expression, our ears hear a new way of putting things, we get interested. Our ears perk up and we note it down. It becomes a part of my memory now, what you have said, and I'm sure I will quote it endlessly, because I love the expression online Veda. And it just explains and, it encapsulates the Punjabi spirit of the community. And it's a beautiful expression, and it's a beautiful translation. Thank you so much for that. So I'll just go to the screen now and start the PPT. Now today the topic is understanding cultural nuances in translation. What does culture have to do with translation? Because translation is simply changing words from one language to another. So, and is it something new? Is it something modern that we have started doing? I don't think so. And if we realize that translation has existed ever since human beings needed to interact with anyone outside their immediate groups, the moment one group of people came in contact with another group of people, some give and take took place, and our own country, and we know that even in ancient times, in primordial times, there was trade, there were cultures that were exchanged all over the world, ideas came from all over the world. So what does translation mean? What are we translating? Are we translating words? Are we translating sounds? Are we translating ideas? Are we translating cultures? So what we are basically doing when we look at the limited meaning of translation is that we, as Gurpreet ma'am also said, you do a passage in which the meaning has to be communicated. And she used the expression soul of the meaning. And that, I think, she has in fact probably summarized my entire presentation in that one sentence. Soul of the meaning has to be retained. So, if you see the image, it's as if there are two languages, and if I'm listening to Greek or if I'm even listening to Sanskrit, it would not make sense to me. I would not understand anything that is being said. But it is a book, it is a translation that can take me across and help me understand not only that language, but also that culture. So the technical terms that we use in this is, one is the source language. Primarily, I translate from Punjabi to English. I have done translations from Hindi to English and also from English to Punjabi and English to Hindi, but primarily I translate from Punjabi into English. Now, Punjabi in that sense is the source language for me, and if I'm translating into English, then English is the target language, the source language and the target language. Now, what does translation do? What is the benefit of translating texts from another language? Why should we do it? Because it opens us windows to other cultures. We can, all through human history, ideas, knowledges, various knowledge systems, religions, philosophy, literature, science, everything has percolated to different parts of the world only because it has been possible to put them in the language of another area. And not only is it enriching our lives in that way, it is also enriching languages. Because if I come across an experience which is not part of my language group, then I see something new and I add that word to my language. College, as simple a word as college. अब हम में से कितने लोग बोलेंगे हम महाविद्यालय में पढ़ते हैं, हम सब बोलेंगे कॉलेज जा रहे हैं. So it's not a Hindi word, it's not a Punjabi word, but we use it because it's become part of our language. And what also, I think, what is fundamental to the needs of the world today, and especially to the country today, is the idea that when we are in contact with another culture, or we are in contact with another knowledge system, or with another, then we learn to appreciate the other. We also learn that there are things worth valuing in something that initially seems hostile or initially seems very different, and we realize that there is a certain universality of emotion that is beyond language, that is beyond words, and translation helps us to understand that. And if we look at how from Latin, from Sanskrit, a lot of knowledge texts have been translated, it has helped in social engineering, especially I'm talking in the Indian context, but also all over the world, because it decodes sacred knowledge, which was only the domain of the privileged few. Then other people could access it, other people could enrich their lives with it. In the context of colonialism, it led to cross-fertilization of thoughts. We talk of the Bengal Renaissance, we talk of how, Western literature found its way here, and how Indic literature, how Sanskrit literature found its way to the West. Even earlier, it had gone to the West, to Europe, through Arab traders. But now there was a more direct connect. And unfortunately, it was colonialism. When we talk of languages, there is always a kind of inherent hierarchy that builds up, which we keep trying to dismantle. As Gurpreet ma'am said just now, that the English department is looked upon as the elite department in every college. Now, I would say that the only claim to fame that most English departments have, and the aura that they carry, is that they can converse very fluently in English. But should that be a criteria? Should that really be a consideration? the fact of the matter is that it does seem like that. And that is a result of our experience of colonization, our experience of looking at English as something, let me put it in quotes, better than other languages. And that is what, in a way, disrupted the flow of our regional languages and put them in a hierarchy below English. So anything in English seemed valuable, anything not in English, thereby by inference seemed less valuable. Now, when we look at India specifically, within India, we are such a multilingual country. I think according to one of the last censuses, not the latest one, but a previous one, we had 1,576 languages in India. And probably these were not only, they did not take in account all the, languages spoken by the smaller groups. Now, एक idea मैं यहाँ पे translation से पहले introduce करना चाहती हूँ, जो language का idea है कि हम बहुत आराम से हम use करते हैं words language and dialect. और हमें लगता है कि language तो ठीक है, dialect का hierarchy में थोड़ा नीचे उसका रुतबा है और therefore one should learn the language. Dialect तो वो है जो हम घर में बोलते हैं, आपस में बोलते हैं, लेकिन वैसे language होनी चाहिए. The concept is of, and I'm sure there must be people with a linguistics background, the concept is of mother tongues. Every different variant of a language is a language in itself. And there are no linguistic reasons for one language to be considered better than the other. There are only historical, political, social reasons for one variant of a particular language to be called the standard version. For example, the Oxford English or when we look at Punjabi, what kind of, we know there are many kinds of Punjabis or more than 50 kinds of Hindi, but which Hindi or which Punjabi is the standard Punjabi? So, and these issues matter when we are doing translation, because when writers or when literary authors write texts, they don't always write in the standard language. They might be writing in what we will call a dialect or in a different language of a particular region. So all of these have challenges for translators. And yet, again, one point, I think Gurpreet ma'am really talked of a lot of very important issues, because these days we are becoming increasingly less multilingual than our previous generations used to be. 2 generations ago, most people knew at least 3 or 4 languages, at least. Today, students cannot say that. And that's an unfortunate thing. And I would urge students to go back to different languages, to learn different languages. So if somebody knew Tamil, the person would also know a little Malayalam, would also know a little Marathi, or, not complete languages, but enough to be able to communicate, which is the basic idea either behind language or behind translation. So this kind of sharing, and there are endless examples. Novel form came in English in the 18th century. It came in India through a Bengali translation, but today every single language has novels written in it. So it's how ideas, how forms, how images travel, how forms of poetry have traveled. The Urdu Qissa or Sufi poetry, how did it go all over? The Bhakti poetry, how were there Bhakti poets talking in different languages on the same themes in the same century? So it's remarkable. So, this talks about how it leads also to cultural unity. And in the nationalist context, one of the major reasons given for the failure of the 1857 War of Independence was that groups in different parts of the country were not able to cohere. One of the reasons, not obviously the only one. And in 1947, although we split into 2 countries on the basis of religion, yet the run-up to independence meant that in the nationalist context, English became a kind of bridge to connect with the colonizers. So although a Bengali could not talk with a Gujarati directly, but they could do so through English. Now, what is it that we require for translation? First of all, let me say that all of us are born translators, and this is not my quote, it is a quote by a very famous scholar, Sujit Mukherjee, that Indians are born translators. We are constantly translating thought from one language into another in our minds. And it's just that we take it so much for granted that we don't even pay attention to it. So anyway, by and large, what we would say for translation is a competency, is a knowledge of more than one language, which again, this point has already been spoken about. So we need to have a reasonable command over the vocabulary and the contextual meaning. The moment I say contextual meaning, I bring in the idea of culture. I bring in the idea of cultural nuance. I will come to this point a little later, but I'm looking just at the very broad tools that we require. So we need to know more than one language. We need to have good dictionaries, even bilingual ones, because we need to know synonyms. We need to know the kind of nuance that we want to. For example, अगर मुझे रोशनी translate करनी है, तो वो किस चीज की रोशनी है? सूरज की रोशनी है कि तारों की रोशनी है? क्योंकि इंग्लिश में उन दोनों के लिए words different होंगे. So I need to have synonyms of light, sunshine, sunlight, glitter, twinkling, shine, sheen, glisten, glint, anything. There can be so many words. So we need to have a base of vocabulary. So thesaurus is a very useful tool to have. Encyclopedias, because sometimes we need to look up the reference. What did it mean in those times? What did this word mean? Sometimes the meanings of the words change. Then we also have to remember that it is a creative effort. Translation is usually, traditionally it was seen as a what should I say, again, a second-rate activity. That it's, the writers are the real creators and translators are only copying what the writer has said. That is not true. The moment we try to translate, the moment we attempt to bring the thought of one author into another language, we realize that we are creative. We become creative. So I may not write something, I haven't written anything creatively in that sense at all in my life. I've not written any book, any poem, any story. But during translation, I feel that I require creativity to be able to translate effectively. Also, a lot of practice is required. It is not something that we can do in a day. Again, ma'am said that, we would just simply have one passage, Punjabi to English, English to Punjabi or whatever. And that was difficult to do. So like any other activity, practice also is also required for translation. It's required for everything. You need to train your muscles. You need to train your mind to be able to translate. And there is again no perfect translation. Again, as I said, it's an exercise that keeps one humble. Because, if I look at the translation I did 10 years ago, when I look at it, I feel that, no, I should not have used this word. I could have used this. Because in 10 years, my experience has grown. And of course, it is not the last word. It will keep on growing. Another person could have a better experience and might do better or may have a better spark. So there is nothing it's not like that, you will get a perfect answer at the end of it. The orientation of the translator also matters, because if I'm translating from a feminist perspective, हम कहते तो हैं कि ट्रांसलेटर को बिल्कुल invisible होना चाहिए, लेकिन कभी होता नहीं है ऐसे. Little bit of the translator will also come into the translation, and I'll talk about that. I'll give examples later. Also, when we translate, we have to realize कि हम किसके लिए translate कर रहे हैं. क्या मैं इंडियन ऑडियंस के लिए ट्रांसलेट कर रही हूँ, इंटरनेशनल ऑडियंस के लिए ट्रांसलेट कर रही हूँ, बच्चों के लिए कर रही हूँ? अगर मुझे रामायण को ट्रांसलेट करना है, अगर मैं उतना बड़ा पोथा ट्रांसलेट कर दूंगी किसी भी भाषा में, इट विल नॉट वर्क फॉर चिल्ड्रन इफ आई हैव टू ट्रांसलेट इट फॉर चिल्ड्रन. इफ आई एम ट्रांसलेटिंग इट फॉर चिल्ड्रन, माय ओरिएंटेशन टुवर्ड्स और माय strategy towards translation would be different than if I was doing it for another thing. And one thing is that one has to be very careful of what is now happening in the modern world due to technology, machine translation, online translation we have. I also use those tools, but those tools need to be used with a lot of care, and they can certainly not be used without a thought. I will give you extremely funny examples of what can happen if you translate simply through a machine. Now, the important thing is that I'm coming back to the first point, the contextual meaning. What is the contextual meaning? यहाँ पे मैंने एक वर्ड प्रौना लिखा है पंजाबी का, क्योंकि ये एक बार मुझे ट्रांसलेट करना था एक कहानी में. उसमें था कि प्रौना आ रहा था तो इसलिए बासमती चावल बना खाने में. अब अगर आप सोचें इसके बारे में, प्रौना सिंपल वर्ड इसका गेस्ट है, लेकिन वहां पे कॉन्टेक्स्ट में हम प्रौना हम कब यूज करते हैं? फॉर अ स्पेशल गेस्ट, फॉर इन दैट कॉन्टेक्स्ट द सन इन लॉ. एंड अनलेस आई न्यू दैट कॉन्टेक्स्ट, I would simply have translated it as a prauna, as a guest. That is the word equivalence. कि prauna का मतलब guest है, अतिथि, therefore guest. लेकिन हिंदी के अतिथि में और पंजाबी के prauna में ये फर्क है कि वहां पे उसका एक contextual meaning है. तो इसलिए ये कॉन्टेक्स्ट जानना, वहां की कल्चर जानना, और कई बार मुझसे मिस होता है ये, कई बार मुझे वो कॉन्टेक्स्ट का पता नहीं लगता है या कंफ्यूजन होती है, तो मैं बहुत अपने फ्रेंड्स को सर्कल में पता करती हूँ कि आप इसका मीनिंग मुझे बताइए कि ये इसका क्या मतलब है, और बहुत सारे ऐसे एग्जाम्पल्स होते हैं. तो हमको ढूंढना पड़ता है कि वो किस सेंस में यूज किया गया है. दैट इज व्हाट वी हैव टू सी. सिमिलरली एक एग्जाम्पल मैं आपको देती हूँ. इन वन ऑफ द वर्कशॉप्स दैट आई वाज कंडक्टिंग, उसमें ये था कि ही वाज प्लेइंग पूल. That English had to be translated into Punjabi. Now for the translator, and a very good translator, let me tell you, an excellent translator, he did not know that pool is also a word used for playing billiards or snooker. उसको भी pool कहते हैं. Pool otherwise हमारे लिए swimming pool से मतलब होता है. So that there the translation went wrong. And it was very difficult to convince the person that please check this, it is not a swimming pool but it is a billiards pool. So that's the kind of thought that one has to, or the intelligence that one has to be able to, not only the intelligence, actually the understanding, the awareness of the other culture that one requires to do this. Just give me a second please. Yeah, क्या चीज? हाँ, मैं PPT, is my PPT not visible to all of you? Oh, let me try again. Is it visible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Now is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
तो अभी तक दिखी नहीं थी क्या?
नहीं.
Okay, then I run through. Okay. Thanks for telling me. So now it's visible, and I had started with this image of how it creates a bridge, and then how it opens windows to other cultures, how we are able to see other things. Contextual meaning in mind, we have to be aware of the context and not just the word. Now I'm not able to go further from this. I don't know. Yes. Now what happens in translation? अगर अब मैं थोड़ा technical और थोड़ा lay person language use कर रही हूँ, just to make you aware of the technical terms, not necessarily to pay too much attention to them. Translation में हम transcoding कर रहे हैं. When an author writes something, a poem, a novel, anything, or any information, let's say कि passport office में अपनी FAQs निकाले हैं, कुछ भी, any information, there is a certain meaning encoded in that. It carries a certain meaning that is in the source language. Translator उसको समझता है, उसको decode करता है, और decode करता है. So it is linguistic as well as cultural coding. So I'm repeating this point because this is the most important point in translation. Again, as I'm quoting Gurpreet ma'am, the soul of the meaning. The soul of the meaning can be, communicated only if the cultural transposition is given. अब मैं आपको 3 images दिखा रही हूँ. अगर मेरे को कुछ नहीं कहना है, मुझे बोलना ही नहीं है, and I'm just giving you a message. What is the message I'm communicating to you? That there is a desert and a poor man, he's thirsty and he's, he's fallen down because he's so thirsty. And then he gets this drink, cola. He drinks it and he is ready to run. This is the message all of us will understand. What happens? And this is something I got a joke on an email once, a long time ago. And this was that, a disappointed salesman of the Coca-Cola firm. I don't know whether it's true or not, but he went to the Middle East and but he did not really manage to push up sales at all. And he says, कि friend पूछता है क्यों भाई वहाँ पे क्यों नहीं successful हुआ? He says I didn't know the language, so I thought I could communicate through pictures. So I showed the first picture where a man is fainting, and the second the man is drinking, and the third the man becomes re-energized again. And he says that sounds good. Why didn't it work? He says, well, it didn't. I didn't realize that the Arabs read from right to left. So अगर आप right से left पढ़ोगे, एक अच्छा खासा चलता फिरता आदमी कोला पीता है और ढेर होके गिर जाता है. So the meaning has been corrupted. The meaning has been misdirected, and it will not succeed therefore. So अब basic जो issue आता है translation करते हुए कि हमें कितना carefully translate करना है. How closely do we have to translate? जो ऑथर ने लिखा है, अगर उसने यहाँ कॉमा लगाया, यहाँ डॉट लगाया और ये वर्ड लिखा है, इसका एग्जैक्ट मीनिंग ये, तो मुझे ऐसे ही वर्ड टू वर्ड ट्रांसलेट करना है कि क्या करना है. एक बड़ा सेक्सिस्ट कमेंट है ट्रांसलेशन के बारे में, आई हेट टू रिपीट इट, बट उसमें ये कहा जाता है कि इट्स लाइक अ मिस्ट्रेस, इट कैन आइदर बी ब्यूटिफुल और फेथफुल. So I'm sorry to repeat this extremely sexist comment, but the idea of whether we are going to be faithful to the author, to the text, or whether we are going to be worried only about creating a beautiful text of our own, that is the question. तो एक तरीका होता है कि हम लिटरली ट्रांसलेट करते हैं, हम बहुत क्लोज ट्रांसलेशन. अब इसके ये एक रेंज है, ये एक स्पेक्ट्रम है. एब्सोल्यूट लिटरल वर्ड टू वर्ड ट्रांसलेशन टू एब्सोल्यूट फ्री, जो मर्जी करो उसके साथ. टेक्स्ट ले लिया आपने, आइडिया ले लिया, उसका जो मर्जी किया. सो देयर इज अ रेंज, and every translator will be somewhere on that spectrum of how much freedom to take with the text. Every translator has to make that choice. अब जो word for word है, that is more required for informative texts. कोई ब्रोशर है, होटल का ब्रोशर है, कोई सरकार का डॉक्यूमेंट है, वहां पे ज्यादा close translation होती है. And why I'm saying this is because translation as a career also has a lot of opportunities, and I hope that some of the students would think of it as a viable opportunity. And legal translations होती हैं, medical translations होती हैं, अपने आप में पूरी fields हैं where translators are paid, good translators are paid very highly. So it is more useful where information has to be imparted without much leeway being taken with them. But by and large, when we talk of literary translation, there we go for meaning. We have to communicate the meaning. What is the author trying to say? So it's also known, that is known as direct. This is also known as oblique. Thumb rule wahi hai, meaning cannot be sacrificed. Or after Gurpreet ma'am's comment, I will add to this, soul of the meaning cannot be sacrificed. Now, one of the theorists, Susan Bassinet, says कि ये हमेशा एक pull रहता है, whether to be faithful to the author or to the reader. Author ने जो कहा है वो present करो, कि जो reader समझ सकता है वो present करो. So she says it is about negotiation. So just think of it as a spectrum, and you are somewhere on that spectrum. I could be here, you could be there, somebody could be here. There are different ways of translating. The idea is that the same impact has to be given. अगर मैं सुन रही हूँ कुछ इंग्लिश में, तो मुझे वही इमोशंस मेरे मन में उठने चाहिए जो पंजाबी रीडर के पंजाबी टेक्स्ट पढ़ के इमोशंस अराइज किए थे. एक हमारे पास सोर्स लैंग्वेज होती है, एक ट्रांसलेट लैंग्वेज होती है, एक टारगेट लैंग्वेज होती है, एक रीडर होता है. अब रीडर सोर्स लैंग्वेज को ट्रांसलेटर के जरिए ही जान सकता है. So there is a translator somewhere between the author and the reader, and these choices have to be made. So abhi I'm just coming to some of the components, some of the ways in which we translate, और ये extremes हैं. अब ट्रांसलिटरेशन कई बार कंफ्यूज किया जाता है. ट्रांसलिटरेशन इज कि मैं किसी भी लैंग्वेज के वर्ड्स किसी और स्क्रिप्ट में लिख रही हूँ, बुलबुल, अमलताज, एनीथिंग. इफ आई एम राइटिंग हिंदी वर्ड्स और पंजाबी वर्ड्स इन इंग्लिश स्क्रिप्ट, इन रोमन स्क्रिप्ट, then I am transliterating. So we also need to understand that language and script have no inherent relationship with each other. I can write Hindi in Roman script, or I can write English in Punjabi script. So that's a separate relationship. But अगर एक ट्रांसलेटर बहुत ही क्रिएटिविटी दिखाते हैं और बहुत ही ज्यादा बस आइडिया लेते हैं और उसको एक्सपैंड करते हैं अपने कॉन्टेक्स्ट के लिए, we call it a transcreation. For example, we have hundreds of Ramayans in our country because every person who looked at Ramayana looked for meanings. यहाँ पे author की intervention बहुत ज्यादा है. The author is not invisible. The author is visible there. Very, very visible, and in the forefront there where the author, the translator, the author has receded into the background. So everything is possible, all of them can be done. So इसके लिए हम दो terms use करते हैं. एक होता है domestication, एक होता है foreignization. एक तो है कि पंजाबी का टेक्स्ट है, अब वो इंग्लिश के रीडर को समझाना है. So I have to remove all those things which are very typical to the Punjabi culture, because the English person will not be able to understand that, and I'm taking the text closer to the target language. I'm making it very fluent in English. The other is, as a translator, I can make the choice. No, I want the English reader to know what, for example, online Veda means. What does it mean when I'm talking about a Trinjan, for example? So I don't want to remove that nuance. या पंचायत बैठी है या हुक्का पी रही है. I don't want to remove that nuance. When we read English texts, we also make an effort to understand the cultural nuances of those texts. African writer wrote about daffodils. I wandered lonely as a cloud. Daffodils to Wordsworth की famous poem है. He says it was being taught in a school in Kenya, and students had never, the children didn't know what daffodils are. We were not familiar with daffodils, and actually some of the students thought that they were small fish. So the point is that it is not a part of their culture. So similarly, when a translator is to take something which is not a part of the target culture, it will need some explanation. It will need a glossary. It will need, अगर आप पुरानी वो देखोगे जो translations होती थी 50s में 60s में, तो बड़ी लंबी लिस्ट, चारपाई, बनियान, दादा, दादी, इन सब टर्म्स की एक ग्लॉसरी बनी होती थी कि इनका क्या मतलब है. अब वो स्ट्रैटेजी भी बदल रही है. अब वो भी स्ट्रैटेजी ये हो गई है that why should we have to explain what we are saying? Let the other person make the effort to understand. So we are foreignizing the language. The translation. We are bringing the reader close to the culture and the text of the source, rather than make it very comfortable for him. So ये क्या हम टेक्स्ट कर रहे हैं, किस ऑडियंस के लिए कर रहे हैं, इन सब में ये सारी टेक्निक्स की ऑप्शन आएगी. एंड कोई भी टेक्स्ट में हम सिर्फ डोमेस्टिकेट नहीं करेंगे या सिर्फ फॉरेनाइज नहीं करेंगे. यूजुअली इट्स अ कॉम्बिनेशन, एंड अगेन द कॉम्बिनेशन किस रेशियो में होगा, दैट विल डिपेंड. So this is just a continuation of the same idea. I have just given some texts. I'm not going to read through it. So basically वो यही है कि अब ये भी बैलेंस ट्रांसलेटर को रखना है कि अगर सारे के सारे बहुत सारे अननोन एलिमेंट्स वो डाल देंगे ट्रांसलेशन में, it will become unreadable for the English audience, for example. उनको समझ ही नहीं आएगा कि लिखा क्या है. They will lose interest. Then the purpose of translation will be defeated because the meaning has not been communicated properly. So it's a question, again, I'm using the word equipoise, balance, negotiation again and again, because that is what a translator has to do constantly. लेकिन कुछ, जैसे अब मैं इसमें बता रही हूँ कि लॉरेंस बेनूटी कहते हैं इसको रेजिस्टेंस, कि हम कुछ एलिमेंट्स डालते हैं क्योंकि हम चाहते हैं कि जो फॉरेन रीडर है वो हमारी कल्चर के बारे में जाने. इसके मैं आपको एक एग्जांपल देती हूँ. एक लेक्चर में मैंने सुना था प्रोफेसर हरीश त्रिवेदी को कहते हुए कि हरिवंश राय बच्चन ने जब एक इंग्लिश टेक्स्ट को हिंदी में ट्रांसलेट किया, he used the word स्कूल. तो somebody said कि आप स्कूल लिखो, आप स्कूल क्यों लिख रहे हो? तो बोले क्यों, वो भी तो हमारे वर्ड्स को गलत प्रोनाउंस करते हैं, तो हम ऐसे ही बोलते हैं, मैं ऐसे ही लिख रहा हूं. सो दैट्स द आइडिया, दैट इज द रेजिस्टेंस. Not necessarily to produce what they have written, but how we have received it. So this is the kind of strategy that translators can employ. अब इसका एक एग्जाम्पल है, महाश्वेता देवी की कहानी है, एक स्तनदायिनी जिसको हम वेट नर्स, उसका यही होता है कि जो मदर्स अपने बच्चों को फीड नहीं कर सकती हैं, न्यूबॉर्न बेबीज को, वो एक किसी और दाई के या धाय जिसको बोलते हैं उसको बुला के उससे दूध पिलवाती हैं, ब्रेस्ट मिल्क गिवन टू द चाइल्ड. नाउ one translation titles it The Wet Nurse, which is an absolutely appropriate translation. But when Gayatri Spivak Chakravarti translates it, she calls it breast giver. Because she says ये उस औरत की मजबूरी है कि उसको एक किसी और के बच्चे को दूध पिलाना पड़ रहा है, because she wants to earn money. She has to feed her own child, and in order to do that she has to give her breast to another child. So ये जो commodity उसकी बन गई है, her breast milk is a commodity here, and it is only highlighted if the title is like this. So if I look at it from a fluent point of view, The Wet Nurse is a more fluent translation. It's a more domesticated translation. Breast Giver is a shocking title because it doesn't immediately clarify the meaning, and the reader would have to make an effort to understand. So this is one example. There can be so many others. So अब ये इक्विवेलेंस का आइडिया आता है, जो पहले था कि हमको वही इम्पैक्ट क्रिएट करना है कि कैसे इक्विवेलेंट मीनिंग हम या इक्विवेलेंट इमोशन हम जनरेट कर सकते हैं. इसमें यूजीन नीडा एक ट्रांसलेटर थे जो प्रीस्ट थे और बाइबल को ट्रांसलेट कर रहे थे. व्हेन ही वाज ट्रांसलेटिंग इट फॉर द Alaskans, I think, he says that if अभी Christian worldview में the idea of God as or Jesus Christ as shepherd with the lambs as his flock is a very common idea, is a prevalent idea. But he says lambs would not have made sense in the context where there is only ice and water. There are no lambs there. So he used the word seals of God there. So इसी तरीके से हम कई बार उनको कर लेते हैं, हम चेंज कर लेते हैं. अब ये ध्यान रखना पड़ता है कि हम कैसे चेंज करेंगे. फॉर एग्जाम्पल हिंदी में हम कहते हैं वो तो बड़ा उल्लू है, तो मतलब कि बेवकूफ है, बट इंग्लिश में वाइज एज अ आउल है. सो ऑब्वियसली इट कैन नॉट बी अ सिंपल ट्रांसलेशन. वी वुड हैव टू नेगोशिएट दिस. इंडियन लैंग्वेजेस के बीच में हम करेंगे तो बाय एंड लार्ज सिमेट्री मिल जाएगी. But if we go to a different language, culture, then it will make a difference. So Indian languages, even though they are different, they share the same by and large cultural space. उसमें भी आगे qualification है, which I will come to. अब मैं ये एक strategy, अगर मैं सिर्फ ये terms लूँ, दादा, दादी, दीदी, 3 words के थ्रू हम कैसे कैसे इनको अलग अलग strategies में use करते हैं. एक तो हो जाता है कि borrowing, transliteration, कि हम ऐसे के ऐसे हम दादा टर्म लिख देंगे जब हम इंग्लिश में ट्रांसलेट करेंगे. जैसे हम अब ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम बहुत सारे हिंदी वर्ड्स अब हमको इटैलिसाइज करने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ती जब हम उनको इंग्लिश में ट्रांसलेट करते हैं, बिकॉज दे हैव बिकम अ पार्ट ऑफ द इंग्लिश कॉमन अंडरस्टैंडिंग. Some examples are software, college, dalda, anything like that. So these terms then in when we are borrowing or transferring or naturalizing means कि हमने पंजाबी का word लेके या हिंदी का word लेके उसको इंग्लिश में as it is डाल दिया, and it is presented as if as if it belongs there, as if it is an English word. Another could be कि हम उसको literally translate करें, और इसमें ट्रांसलेटर नहीं पर एक इंग्लिश राइटर है मुल्कराज आनंद, जो जैसे अब हम पंजाबी में एक्सप्रेशन होता है खसमानू खानी, so when he writes in English, he is translating that Punjabi idiom and he calls this person husband eater of husbands. अब वैसे तो बहुत अजीब लगेगा, कोई भी ट्रांसलेशन में अच्छा नहीं लगेगा ये सुनना, और नेचुरल भी नहीं लगेगा, बट इट इज डन फॉर अ पर्टिकुलर रीजन। एंड यहाँ पे अगर हम इसको फॉलो करते हैं, तब हम दादा दादी लिखने की बजाय इंग्लिश में हम पैटर्नल ग्रैंडफादर, पैटर्नल ग्रैंडमदर, एल्डर सिस्टर ऐसे लिखेंगे, या उनको बिना अलग अलग वर्ड किए एक ही वर्ड लिखेंगे पैटर्नल ग्रैंडफादर, तो इंग्लिश वाला सोचेगा कि ये कुछ गलती है, but then it is to communicate that this is different from your understanding of a grandfather. What you understand from a grandfather is different from the idea of grandfather in India, because India में दादा और नाना different हैं, उनका एक cultural role different है family में, and that is communicated by retaining the word dada. So he does this many, ये तो और examples है, so I will skip over because otherwise time बहुत हमारा लग जाएगा। तो कभी कभी हम उसको हटा देते हैं, कभी कभी हम वो वर्ड ही नहीं डालते हैं, सो वी सिंपली जस्ट अगर हमें लगता है उससे मीनिंग का कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा, वी रिमूव इट, और वी एड सम फ्यू मोर वर्ड्स, वी एक्सपैंड द मीनिंग, हम उसको पैराफ्रेज करके एक्सप्लेन करके लिखते हैं। मैं एक एग्जांपल देती हूँ। अब मैं कहती हूँ कि मैं अंदर कमरे ते गई ते पिताजी बैठे सी, मैं उन्हां नू सत श्री अकाल बुलाई, ते हुण सत श्री अकाल बुलाई, अब मैं आई विल नॉट से आई कॉल्ड सत श्री अकाल, आई कैन नॉट से, आई विल सिंपली से आई ग्रीटेड हिम, आई विश्ड हिम, तो मैंने सत श्री अकाल हटा दिया, या मैं कहूंगी आई ग्रीटेड हिम विद सत श्री अकाल, या मैं कहूंगी आई ग्रीटेड हिम इन द नेम ऑफ गॉड और समथिंग लाइक दैट. So these are different translation strategies that I can use. I have to see how awkward it will sound, what is my intention, am I trying to create a new thing here, am I just trying to make it smooth, that will all अब सांवला वर्ड है, सांवले के लिए डार्क अगर हम सिर्फ कहते हैं वो कम्युनिकेट नहीं होता है मीनिंग, तो हम डार्क स्किन्ड मैन कह देते हैं. सो अगेन ये सिर्फ एग्जांपल्स हैं कि हम किस किस तरीके से उसको नेगोशिएट करते हैं. एक था कि हम उसको नेचुरलाइज करते हैं, एक है कि हम उसको न्यूट्रलाइज कर देते हैं, कि हम कहते हैं कि कोई बात नहीं, फर्क नहीं पड़ता कि दादा थे कि दादी थी, वी विल सिंपली राइट ग्रैंडफादर. सो एक जैसे एग्जांपल है मेलुकु पुराटी, अब वो ड्राई वेजिटेबल डिशेस लिख दिया या चपाती की जगह फ्लैट ब्रेड लिख दिया, सो दैट दे अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट इट ब्रॉडली मीन्स. उनको मोटा मोटा समझ आ गया कि यही मतलब है, एंड दे आर नॉट गोइंग इनटू द नुएंसेस ऑफ इट. कई बार हम उसको कॉम्पनसेट करते हैं, जैसे अब हिंदी में हम तुम और आप का एक डिफरेंस है इन द लेवल ऑफ रिस्पेक्ट दैट वी आर अकॉर्डिंग, बट इन इंग्लिश इट इज यू एंड ओनली यू. सो उससे ये नहीं पता लगता कि आप किसी बड़े से बात कर रहे हो, रिस्पेक्टेड पर्सन से बात कर रहे हो, कि किसी बिल्कुल अपने शायद बच्चे से या ऐसे ही बात कर रहे हो. सो कभी कभी फिर हम उसमें रजिस्टर लेके आते हैं, जो फॉर्मल रजिस्टर है, इनफॉर्मल रजिस्टर है, टू इंडिकेट द लेवल ऑफ फॉर्मेलिटी. तो हो सकता है मैं सिर्फ दादा कहने की, दादाजी कहने की बजाय मैं लिखूं रिस्पेक्टेड ग्रैंडफादर. It might sound awkward, but it indicates that this relationship is of a certain respect. So anyway, similarly, transposition भी होता है, modulation भी होता है. I don't want you to pay too much attention to these terms. I'm just introducing them into the mind of the student at the moment. That transposition क्या होता है कि जब हमारा structure different हो जाता है. English में हम we say the boy ran after the boy. तो बॉय आ गया सब्जेक्ट, बॉल आ गया ऑब्जेक्ट, और बीच में आ गया वर्ब. लेकिन हिंदी में लड़का बॉल के पीछे भागा, सब्जेक्ट ऑब्जेक्ट वर्ब. तो ये भी हम ट्रांसलेशन में करेंगे. ये नेचुरल है दैट वी विल हैव टू फॉलो द सिंटैक्टिकल स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ द टारगेट लैंग्वेज इन विच वी आर गोइंग टू ट्रांसलेट. सिमिलरली कई बार हम मॉड्यूलेट कर देते हैं. इट इज नॉट डिफिकल्ट, इट इज ईजी. का nuance में फर्क है, but by and large the meaning is the same. It can be communicated. So I'm just trying to give a lot of different examples to show that in practice how it works. So ये भी adaptation है कि हम कुछ भी कर सकते हैं. अब मैं एक इंग्लिश स्टोरी में बेसबॉल मैच देख रही हूँ, लेकिन इंडिया में क्योंकि बेसबॉल नहीं है, अगर मुझे हिंदी में ट्रांसलेट करना है मैं उसको क्रिकेट मैच बना देती हूँ. Then accordingly I translate. For example, Vishal Bhardwaj has made films on Shakespeare's plays, but completely in an Indian context. Those are transcreations, those are adaptations, those are free translations. He has taken the kernel of the idea, but he has changed the context of them. Think of Omkara, think of Heather, think of Maqbool. All these films, they are examples simply like this. Now, अब मैं आपको 2 एग्जाम्पल्स देना चाहती हूँ. पहले मैं नीचे वाले पे आती हूँ. ये एक्चुअल ये रियल लाइफ एग्जाम्पल है कि हमें क्वेश्चन पेपर बनाना था, बोथ इन इंग्लिश एंड हिंदी. So I made the question paper in English and I gave it to a Hindi teacher to translate it into Hindi. He simply put it into the machine, into Google Translate, and thankfully छपने से पहले हमने चेक कर लिया, पढ़ लिया, क्योंकि वो ईव टीजिंग वर्ड था उसमें, इंग्लिश सेंटेंस में ईव टीजिंग था, और उसकी ट्रांसलेशन बनी छेड़छाड़ की पूर्व संध्या. So you can imagine, I mean, it is funny, it is ridiculous, but it is also absolutely wrong. Eve teasing in itself एक वैसे word ऐसा है जो at least from the feminist point of view we don't like to use, because कोई छेड़छाड़ थोड़ी है. छेड़छाड़ तो आप दोस्तों के साथ करते हो, अपने आपस में सहेलियों के साथ करते हो. People, this is sexual harassment. But anyway, यहाँ पे मेरा purpose translation के ऊपर focus करना है. So I'm just showing you what it means. सबसे ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम आती है जब हमको idioms, मुहावरे, ऐसी चीजें, लकोक्तियां, ऐसी चीजें हमें ट्रांसलेट करनी पड़ती हैं. इंग्लिश में हम कहते हैं like an ostrich buried its head in the sand, कि वो सच्चाई नहीं देखना चाहता था तो उसने अपना सर जमीन में डाल दिया. और अगर हम कहेंगे शुतुरमुर्ग ने सिर मिट्टी में दफना दिया, तो वो किसी को समझ नहीं आएगा. लेकिन इसके लिए हमारे पास ऑलरेडी यही एग्जैक्टली सेंस कन्वे करने के लिए हमारे पास है. कबूतर ने अपनी आंखें बंद कर ली, बिल्ली को देख के कबूतर ने अपनी आंखें बंद कर ली कि उसके मतलब टू बी अनअवेयर ऑफ द डेंजर, to pretend that there was no danger. So how then what we should be doing? These are choices that we are constantly making. So I thought that I would choose one example. And अब मैं जेन ऑस्टन का एग्जाम्पल अगर लेती हूँ, एंड आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट द फिल्म दैट गुरिंदर चड्ढा मेड. आई एम श्योर आप लोगों ने, बहुत सारों ने देखी होगी, बल्ले बल्ले अमृतसर टू LA या ब्राइड एंड प्रेजुडिस. मैंने दोनों हिंदी और इंग्लिश वर्जन देखी थी और दोनों में खूब मजा आया. अब मैं उसके एक गाने का एग्जाम्पल दे रही हूँ, जस्ट वन सॉन्ग. आई थिंक दिस वाज इन द स्ट्रीट्स ऑफ अमृतसर के मार्केट की ये गाना था. तो वो क्या है, फिर क्या क्यों कभी तीनों हम सखी होंगे यूं साथ ना हो. सेम ट्यून है दोनों गानों की, इंग्लिश में भी और हिंदी में भी, बट वर्ड्स चेंज हो गए हैं. इज दिस गोइंग टू बी द लास्ट टाइम वी थ्री वॉक डाउन दिस स्ट्रीट टुगेदर. शादी जब हो जाएगी तो ना समझो ये खो जाएगी. लेकिन उसको कैसे ट्रांसलेट किया है, शी इज गोइंग टू बी वेड, इट डजंट मीन शी इज डेड. अब वो खो जाई डेड नहीं है, लेकिन वहां पे दैट इज व्हाट इज मेकिंग सेंस, बिकॉज द आइडिया इज कन्वेड कि ये मत सोचो कि गई हमेशा के लिए, दोस्त रहे हम रहेंगे हमेशा, डोली है कोई लाने को, एंड सो ऑन. आई मीन ये तो एंडलेस है. आप इसके लिरिक्स आपको ऑनलाइन मिल जाएंगे. आप देखो हिंदी का गाना और इंग्लिश का गाना, ब्यूटिफुली ट्रांसलेटेड. टाइटल खुद देखिए आप, टाइटल इज टेकन फ्रॉम प्राइड एंड प्रेजुडिस. अब प्राइड एंड प्रेजुडिस का मेन थीम क्या है? मेन थीम ये है कि देयर इज अ मदर डेस्परेट टू गेट हर डॉटर्स मैरिड. दिस इज अ थीम which can be easily adapted from the English context of the 19th or 18th or whatever century to even the 21st century in India. तो हमने यहाँ पे Pride and Prejudice की जगह Bride and Prejudice भी जब हमने किया, we have communicated the theme, and this is an excellent translation. Similarly, the idea of then putting this translation as balle balle Amritsar to LA, think of it. How creative. So when we say that translation is not creative, I think it will be clear to everyone, it is extremely creative. And it is poetic, it is musicality, it is everything that can be there. और ये endless इसमें से examples दे सकते हैं. अब मैं आपको एक छोटा सा एग्जाम्पल देना चाहती हूँ. एक मुंशी प्रेमचंद की कहानी है, बड़े भाई साहब, जिसमें एक बड़ा भाई है जो बहुत नालायक है, बेचारा पढ़ता रहता है लेकिन कभी भी कुछ सीख नहीं पाता, एंड द यंगर ब्रदर कीप्स ऑन गोइंग फर्दर एंड फर्दर. मेरे पास ना ये एज इसकी कट रही है बिकॉज, अच्छा हाँ, जो ओरिजिनल है वो कहता है, इस तरह अंग्रेजी पढ़ोगे तो जिंदगी भर पढ़ते रहोगे और एक हर्फ ना आएगा. अंग्रेजी पढ़ना कोई हंसी खेल का नहीं है कि जो चाहे पढ़ ले. नहीं, ऐरा गहरा नत्थू खैरा सभी अंग्रेजी के विद्वान हो जाते. यहाँ रात दिन आंखें फोड़नी पड़ती हैं. वो अपने छोटे भाई को ये नसीहत दे रहा है, और खून जलाना पड़ता है तब कहीं ये विधा आती है. और आती क्या है, हाँ कहने को आ जाती है. बड़े बड़े विद्वान भी शुद्ध अंग्रेजी नहीं लिख सकते, बोलना तो दूर रहा. और मैं कहता हूँ, तुम कितने घोंगा हो कि मुझे देखकर भी सबक नहीं लेते. मैं कितनी मेहनत करता हूँ. तुम अपनी आंखें देखते हो? अगर नहीं देखते ये तुम्हारी आंखों का कसूर है, तुम्हारी बुद्धि का कसूर है. अब ये 2 ट्रांसलेशंस हैं जो मैंने ऑनलाइन सोर्सेस से निकाली हैं. ये आप इतना बड़ा पैसेज है. एक ट्रांसलेशन में लिखा है, learn English in this fashion and you had it. This is no child's play, dear. Slog for months and you barely get to reach the shore. Even scholars never take it easy. अब shore का तो शब्द कहीं नहीं था ना हिंदी में. And I ask, do you not see me toiling, poring over books? If you fail to see, that's your fault. अब दूसरी जो ट्रांसलेशन है वो थोड़ी और डिटेल्ड है. If you study English this way, you will be studying your whole life and you won't get one word right. Studying English is no laughing matter that anyone who wants to can learn. Other and so on. अब मैं सारा नहीं पढ़ रही हूँ, लेकिन अगर आप ये देखेंगे, दोनों ट्रांसलेशंस में सेम मटेरियल अलग अलग तरीके से हैंडल किया गया है. एक में काफी कंडेंस हो गया है, एक में ज्यादा डिटेल है, लेकिन दोनों में और भी कुछ बातें हैं जो ध्यान देने वाली है. एक में तो लाइन बाय लाइन गया है, दूसरे में फ्री ट्रांसलेशन है. लेकिन दोनों ट्रांसलेशंस में वो नुएंसेस नहीं है. क्या उसमें वो बोलता है, लेट मी जस्ट गो बैक, नहीं सॉरी, हाँ, वो क्या कहता है यहाँ पे, एरा गहरा नत्थू खैरा, वो कहीं नहीं आया. तो कहीं पे फ्लैटन हो गया, वो डोमेस्टिसाइज हो गया इंडियन कल्चरल सबटेक्स्ट, और किसी भी ट्रांसलेशन ने वो इडियोमैटिक यूज को लाने की कोशिश नहीं की है. अब जैसे इसी तरीके से एग्जाम्पल आता है, तेज धूप. अगर मैं कहूँ बड़ी तेज धूप थी, तो ऑटोमेटिकली मुझे आपको बताने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी कि मैं बाहर नहीं जाना चाहती थी क्योंकि गर्मी थी. तो अगर मैं उसको सिर्फ इंग्लिश में ब्राइट सनशाइन करूंगी तो कॉन्टेक्स्ट बिल्कुल उल्टा हो जाएगा. बिकॉज इन एन इंग्लिश, बिकॉज इन इंग्लैंड ब्राइट सनशाइन इज समथिंग टू बी वेलकम्ड. कि अगर मैं बोलूँ इट वाज अ ब्राइट एंड सनी डे, अगर आप बहुत सारी इंग्लिश स्टोरीज पढ़ोगे तो वो यहीं से शुरू होती है कि पिकनिक पे जाना चाहिए क्योंकि इट्स अ ब्राइट एंड सनी मॉर्निंग विदाउट अ क्लाउड इन द स्काई. और यहाँ पे इंडियन कॉन्टेक्स्ट में जब मॉनसून के बादल आते हैं तो उस पे कितनी ब्यूटिफुल डिस्क्रिप्शंस हमारे रीजनल लिटरेचर्स में, संस्कृत में लिखा हुआ है. बिकॉज फॉर अस क्लाउड्स, रेन इज व्हाट इज वेलकम. सो इसलिए ये सब नुएंसेस का हमें ध्यान रखना पड़ेगा. तो ऊपर मैंने जैसे बोला है कि तेज धूप मुझे कहना है, तो ब्राइट सनशाइन का भी वही मतलब है, लेकिन यहाँ पे हार्श सनलाइट इज द कॉनोटेशन दैट आई एम ट्राइंग टू कन्वे. अब मैं एक एग्जांपल आपको वो गाने का ही देती हूँ. एक लड़की को देखा तो ऐसा लगा जैसे सुबह का धूप, जैसे सर्दी की धूप. अब धूप नहीं कहा, सिर्फ हमें बताना पड़ेगा कि सर्दी की धूप है क्योंकि सर्दी की धूप हमें अच्छी लगती है. वैसे धूप हमेशा अच्छी नहीं लगती है. सो वी हैव टू क्वालिफाई इट, वी हैव टू कीप द कल्चरल नुएंस इन कॉन्टेक्स्ट. इंडिया में खासकर जब हमको, एक तो हो गया कि हम एक फॉरेन लैंग्वेज में एक तरीके से, अब इंग्लिश को भी हम फॉरेन लैंग्वेज तो नहीं मानते हैं, लेकिन चलो इंग्लिश का कल्चरल कॉन्टेक्स्ट डिफरेंट था तो हम इसलिए कह रहे हैं. इंडिया के अंदर भी हमें ये कल्चर्स का डाइवर्सिटी को ध्यान में रखना है. एक उदाहरण मैंने सिर्फ दिया है, दैट वी से टर्बन, The turban in the larger Indian context is a sign of status. Turban पहनना कि आप रुतबे वाले हो, आप इन्फ्लुएंशियल हो. तो पगड़ी उछालने का मतलब सिर्फ अगर आप इंग्लिश में उसको ट्रांसलेट ऐसे कर दोगे तो उसका वो मीनिंग कम्युनिकेट नहीं होगा. उसका मीनिंग है कि आपने उसकी बेइज्जती की है. यू हैव डिसऑनर्ड हिम. अगर किसी के चरणों में आपने अपनी पगड़ी रखी है तो या तो आप उसको अपोलोजाइज कर रहे हो और यू आर आस्किंग फॉर मर्सी. बट व्हेन वी लुक एट इट इन द पंजाबी कॉन्टेक्स्ट, सिर्फ इतना ही नहीं है, सिर्फ एक स्टेटस सिंबल नहीं है या एक साइन ऑफ ऑनर नहीं है. इट इज वन ऑफ द 5 Ks that is compulsory to wear. So the cultural context has changed. Similarly, शेव करना है कि नहीं उसका कल्चरल कॉन्टेक्स्ट है. सिर मुंडाना है कि नहीं उसका भी कल्चरल कॉन्टेक्स्ट है. बिकॉज अलग अलग कॉन्टेक्स्ट्स में इवन विद इन इंडिया द मीनिंग कैन चेंज. एंड प्रोवर्ब्स तो है ही प्रॉब्लमैटिक. आउल का एग्जाम्पल ऑलरेडी आया है. अब मैं एक तो आई डोंट नो, कैन आई टेक अनदर 5 minutes or so? I hope I'm not over. I'll try and finish.
Not at all. We have plenty of time.
Thank you. So जैसे मैं सिर्फ I'm just giving lots of examples to make you realize the enormity and the interesting part of the context. एक मैंने पंजाबी स्टोरी सुखवंत कौर मान की ट्रांसलेट की थी जिसमें वो पंजाबी रेफ्यूजीज के बारे में बात कर रही हैं जो आए हैं. एंड शी सेज दैट इवन वन आंट जो पहले वहां पे पाकिस्तान में बहुत अमीर घर में थी और उसको कभी उसने हाथ नहीं हिलाया था, कभी कोई काम नहीं किया था, उसको यहाँ पे आके काम करना पड़ा. तो वहां पे एक्सप्रेशन था कख पन के दूरा नहीं सी किता. कि लिटरली इसका क्या मतलब है कि उसने कभी घास का ब्लेड तोड़ के फोल्ड नहीं किया था. लेकिन इंग्लिश में ऐसे ट्रांसलेट करेंगे तो इट विल नॉट मेक सेंस. बट वी हैव एन इंग्लिश idiom for this, had never lifted a finger in her life. अगर मैं उसको पंजाबी में दोबारा ट्रांसलेट करूंगी, उन्हें कभी उंगली नहीं सी उठाई, it will not have the same meaning जो कख पन के दूरा नहीं सी किता. So ये थोड़े से जो क्या कहते हैं पिटफॉल्स होते हैं. जो मैंने 2 माउंटेन्स दिखाए थे ना जिसमें किताब है, तो अगर वो किताब हट जाएगी तो हम वो खाई में गिर जाएंगे. तो इन चीजों का हमको ध्यान रखना पड़ता है. सिमिलरली वहां पे था उसने मतलब अब वो देसी घी नहीं ला पाते, डालडा यूज करना पड़ता है तो वो नक मरोड़ते हैं अपना. लेकिन ट्विस्टिंग नोज की तो कोई सेंस नहीं है. इंग्लिश में हम कहते हैं टर्न्ड अप देयर नोजेस. सो अब व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू शो यू इज दैट विद इन द सेम स्टोरी आई हैव यूज्ड समवेयर द इंग्लिश इक्विवेलेंट बट समवेयर आई हैव ट्रांसलेटेड लिटरली. फॉर एग्जाम्पल अब यहाँ पे एक और मैंने किताब ट्रांसलेट की थी जिसमें वो कहते ना वो गाना शौना तो आंदा ही होना है, तो गाना गुना, पंजाबी में गाना गुना उसमें लिखा हुआ है. तो अब कैसे उसको इंग्लिश में ट्रांसलेट करूं? He must be able to sing song. I am doing this deliberately as a translator क्योंकि मैं बताना चाहती हूँ कि भाई ये इंडियन लैंग्वेजेस में ऐसे एक्सटेंशन हो जाती है. हम ऐसे चाय वाय, गाना शाना, रोटी शोटी, रोटी वोटी, रोटी शोटी, कुछ भी, मतलब ये भी एक एरिया स्पेसिफिक है कि रोटी शोटी कहेंगे कि रोटी वोटी कहेंगे. तो एक दूसरा है कि वो पाकिस्तानी एक्सेंट में जो ये कहाँ का ये है जहाँ पे ह एड हिक दिन. तो अब हिक दिन कैसे वो कहें? I have tried to put her for or. I have tried to add, लेकिन इसके साथ फिर मुझे नोट देना पड़ा कि मैंने ये इंग्लिश को ऐसे मोड़ा तोड़ा क्यों है. Right? So this is what is required to be done. अब जैसे ही उसने था कि मैंने नमस्ते की, जैसे मैंने आपको एग्जांपल दिया, मैं उन्होंने सत श्री अकाल बुलाई. अब यहाँ पे था मैंने नमस्ते की. अब I did a namaste does not sound very good. So I have added, मैंने यहाँ पे एक्सटेंशन की है. I folded my hands to greet him with a namaste. Right? So similarly, I have added this folded my hands together. तो ये these are the options that translators have. तो जब हमें ये भी सोचना है कि हमने बहुत close translation करना है और हमें बहुत ज़्यादा liberties नहीं लेनी है, फिर भी हमें कहीं पे इस तरीके की liberties लेनी पड़ेंगी because ultimately जब वो इंग्लिश में कोई पढ़ रहा है, it should sound interesting to the person. अब कहीं पे मैंने ट्रांसलेशन, जैसे मैंने अभी बताया कि सुखवंत कौर की कहानी में मैंने इंग्लिश उनके ट्रांसलेशंस दे दिए, इंग्लिश इडियम्स दे दिए रादर देन ट्रांसलेट. नाउ व्हाट यहाँ पे क्या था कि हमारी लत्ता कंबदियां सी, तो अब नीज नॉक करा है, ट्रेम्बलिंग नहीं कहा है मैंने. सिमिलरली कि खूब रौला पड़ेगा, रौला क्या पड़ेगा, लिटरली तो ये हो गया ना कि बहुत शोर मचेगा, राइट. सो आई न्यू दे वुड बी हेल्ड टू प्ले. वो ये कहना चाहता है कि वो चुपके से चला गया फिल्म देखने और प्ले देखने, और उसको पता था कि इससे घर में खूब हंगामा होने वाला है, तो दे वुड बी हेल्ड टू प्ले एट होम. इट इज डिफरेंट फ्रॉम खूब रौला पड़ेगा और बात का बतंगड़ उठ खड़ेगा. सो माउंटेन में बी मेड आउट ऑफ अ मोल हिल. सो जस्ट सम ऑप्शंस. अब कहीं कहीं पे लेकिन मैंने उसका लिटरल ट्रांसलेशन किया है, हालांकि उसका इंग्लिश वर्जन और वेरिएंट अवेलेबल है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल वो कहता है अपनी पीढ़ी हेठा सोटी फेरना. अब क्या मतलब है कि अपने ही घर में, पहले देख लो, दोज हु लिव इन ग्लास हाउसेस शुड नॉट थ्रो स्टोन्स, यही इक्विवेलेंट है. बट आई हैव रिटेन्ड स्वीपिंग अ स्टिक अंडर वन स्टूल, लेकिन उसका आगे एक्सप्लेनेशन दिया है, बिफोर कास्टिंग एक्सपर्शंस ऑन अदर्स, राइट, ताकि मतलब क्लियर हो जाए. फिर एक एक्सप्रेशन था अखा अगे सरों फुल पई. अब क्या कहेंगे इसको, कैसे ट्रांसलेट करेंगे? बेसिकली वो ये था कि वो तो बेचारा नम हो गया, सूख गया डर के मारे. I was nonplussed, or as they say in Punjabi, mustard began to bloom before my eyes. So I'm making it clear to the English audience that पंजाबी में इसके लिए एक फ्रेज है, लेकिन वो यहाँ पे समझ नहीं आएगा, लेकिन लिटरली उसका मतलब ये है, राइट. So examples like that. I'm going to come to this cartoon which I found कि कैसे again misrepresent होता है. अब कैनिबल्स ने 2 लोगों को पकड़ लिया है, and he says we may be in luck. The translation is loose, but I think I overheard them say that they only captured us to save face. अब उसने जब ट्रांसलेशन किया कि मुंह बचाने के लिए या मुंह बचाने के लिए इनको रखा है, सेव फेस उसने जब समझा, he associated the English meaning that just to save their honor, not to be shamed. He does not know that they literally are going to chop off their heads and save their faces. So that's, I mean, just a funny comment. So if I sum up, I can say कि इसमें कोई singular path नहीं है, कोई set path नहीं है. You can, take up one strategy, leave it, take it up again, anything. Ultimate aim is to communicate the source text authentically in the target language. It is important to retain the voice of the source author. और लगना चाहिए कि जैसे सोर्स और पंजाबी का जो ऑथर है वो डायरेक्टली इंग्लिश के ऑडियंस से बात कर रहा है, ऐसा लगना चाहिए. एंड इट्स बोथ एन एक्सट्रीमली इंटरेस्टिंग एक्सपीरियंस, एक्सिलरेटिंग एक्सपीरियंस, जॉयस एक्सपीरियंस, बट इट इज ऑल्सो अ वेरी फ्रस्ट्रेटिंग एक्सपीरियंस. कई बार हम बार बार वर्ड ढूंढते रहते हैं, लेकिन वो तसल्ली नहीं होती कि वो राइट वर्ड नहीं मिला. सो देयर आर दीज चैलेंजेस, बट दे मेक इट वेरी एंजॉयबल. I'm going to end with 2 quotes, and one quote is by Raja Rao, who wrote in English originally, but in Kantapura he says the telling has not been easy. One has to convey in a language that is not one's own the spirit that's one's own. यही हम वो तो इंग्लिश में लिख रहे हैं, वो अपना एक्सपीरियंस, इंडियन एक्सपीरियंस, रीजनल एक्सपीरियंस को इंग्लिश में कम्युनिकेट कर रहे हैं. और उन्होंने उसके लिए बहुत सारी नैरेटिव स्ट्रेटजीज यूज की थी, लंबे लंबे एक पैराग्राफ का एक ही सेंटेंस बना के, जैसे इंडियंस बोलते हैं ना, एंड और करके करते जाते हैं, वो फुल स्टॉप ही नहीं लगता है. So he has used those narrative techniques. So the idea was that we have to create a language. That is why it's a creative endeavor also. That it's not easy to tell the story of my culture, because I have to communicate that spirit to a different language. And A.K. Ramanujan, who was one of the most proficient scholars and translators, says a translator is an artist on oath. So I'll stop here with this and just wait for your comments, and we can discuss whatever you want to.
Ma'am,
so patient.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, ma'am. Thank you so very much. It was truly an enlightening session. We came to know about hitherto unknown aspects of the world of translation. You truly gave us a clear peep into the nuances of translation, ma'am. And your words are still reverberating in my mind, and they are very loud and clear, ma'am. You told us that the art of translation needs to decode secret language. I truly agree with you. So cultural context, they really matter a lot. They have to be kept in mind by the translator. And ma'am, you gave us numerous examples. I personally like that example that you gave the word prana. Wakai, ma'am, it is sometimes you made us, it was quite thought-provoking. You made us feel for a translator, to put in his or her best to be able to translate or bring out the meaning of the source text. And ma'am, the kind of challenges that are there before you, that are there before a translator, you made us, it was all very thought-provoking, ma'am. So it was very aptly proved by you that those who underestimated the job of a translator, they are totally wrong. And it is very much a creative task. I totally agree with you that being a translator is not at all, it is no less than a cumbersome task, I would say. And then we have some idiomatic expressions. Beautifully, ma'am, you explained everything, how difficult it is for a translator to be able to, translate the actual soul behind the idiomatic expression. Like we have an idiom in Punjabi, ma'am, that goes like कि ओदा दिमाग सतवें आसमान ते है ना, हम अपा कह दिन्ने आ. But when it comes to translating in English, we have totally different kind of expression for this. We call it he's on cloud 9. So we have to be very different. We cannot just literally translate certain words. So you were very right, and really hats off to the kind of efforts, ma'am, that you put in to translate. There are so many connotative and denotative meanings that have to be kept in mind. You must have been straining your nerves to justify the source text, ma'am. So commendable job. And I'm sure our students must have thoroughly enjoyed your talk and experiences. And as for me, I personally was totally mesmerized by your narration. Thank you so much, ma'am, for this wonderful session. Thank you so very much, ma'am. And now I think it is, I seek your permission, ma'am, to take up the question answer session for this workshop. If you can allow me, please. Thank you so much. So though ma'am's lecture was quite self-explanatory, guys, we all know that she talked about all the nuances that goes into the work of translation. But I know we must be having some inquisitive minds amongst us who would be curious to put their questions to ma'am. Okay, dear audience, your all relevant questions are heartily welcome. And you can type your questions in chat box also. And as we know that our session is going live on Facebook also, so we are expecting certain questions on our Facebook chat box also. So I ma'am Amita to take over the platform from here, as she has these chat boxes. She'll be picking up the different questions and the persons. And over to ma'am, you ma'am Amita, kindly take over this platform.
Okay, thank you so much, Pooja. First of all, I really like to thank ma'am Hina Nagarjog, and she has wonderfully explained all these things, and her session was extremely illuminating. And I think most of the queries of our students must have been answered by now, especially those who are tediously working on the project of translation that they have in their MA2. And a number of questions have been asked in the chat box and also on our Facebook page where this event is going on live. But I have sifted a few questions, and now I'm going to call upon the students who are actually in the meeting in Zoom meeting. First of all, Japleen, I would like to invite you for posing your question. Japleen.
Thank you for the opportunity, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes.
You're audible.
So, ma'am, my question was that when you translate particular pieces, the view and cultural background of the writer of the source text and the view and cultural background that you belong, they're different. How do you counter these differences?
As I said, it's never easy. It is never an easy thing, and there are always nuances which I don't know about. You know, although I have been brought up in Patiala all my life, my understanding of Punjabi, I have now realized, has always been very superficial. So I think, you know, between the two languages, it is more essential to have a better understanding of the target language. At least from my experience, I can say that. Because if there is something in Punjabi that I cannot understand, there are sources, there are people I can ask, there are dictionaries I can look at, there are websites that I can find the meaning of, and I can find those things if I am aware that this is something I don't. कई बार बहुत simple word होता है पंजाबी का जो तुम्हें exact nuance नहीं मिलता, तुम्हें समझ आ रहा है कि what it means, but to get the exact nuance I still have to look up a dictionary, you know, and look for different words. So the target language is very important because ultimately you are communicating in that language. And when I look at my old translation, sometimes I find mistakes that I have made in rendering it in English. So as I said, it is never a perfect exercise. So if your students who are doing translation, your teacher just mentioned it's a very tedious exercise. Yes, it is. It's a very laborious exercise. You have to really work hard at it. But if you enjoy the process, then it can be a very joyous process. When you're talking about the different cultural context, when you know it's like you might see, let's say, a Japanese film dubbed into English. Japanese context हमारे लिए familiar नहीं है, उनकी culture हमारे लिए familiar नहीं है. But through the events, through the context, you are able to understand what it means for them. Similarly, if you are watching a Hollywood Western film, for example, you are not, you know, it's a very different context from ours. But we are able to understand because emotions are universal, and we are able to connect at that non-verbal and, you know, cues also. So through the context, you can understand. If I were to only look at a line, I would not be able to translate. But once you read the context, then you are able to understand what is it that is being said. But as I'm saying, there are hundreds of times when I will sometimes call up Tanveer ma'am to ask her, you know, what does this mean? You know, this is, I'm told a particular word used in this area. Can you find out the meaning? Or I have another friend who's very, very culturally rooted, and I will always refer my translations to her to see that, you know, I'm not making any mistake. And sometimes I am making a mistake in my understanding. But those are the risks that we take as a translator. We can't always be right, and we won't always be right. मैं आपको एक बहुत अच्छे ट्रांसलेटर हैं जिनकी excellent language है English में. A story in which, you know, he used vage in English because probably he did not realize that the word is vaga border, but not vage border. But हम कहते हैं ना vage te gaya, so it's translated as vage. So it's a small error, which is a natural error for a translator to make if one is not familiar with the exact thing, right?
Okay, next question by Jasnoor Puri. Jasnoor, are you there?
Am I audible?
Jasnoor?
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, you're audible. Please switch on your video if you can.
Yes, ma'am, it is on. First of all, I would like to thank Hina ma'am for such an enlightening session. Thank you so much.
Welcome, my pleasure.
My question is, one translates keeping in mind the audience one is translating for. Will we not be at a risk of compromising the author's culture and authentic thoughts?
See, one has to understand that there is no one way to translate. One text can be translated in different, and sometimes a lot of the iconic texts are translated multiple times, and they are translated for different audiences. And you know what you will find in one translation, you will not find in the other. And always you will say, ये line इस translation में ज़्यादा अच्छी है, पर दूसरी line उसमें ज़्यादा अच्छी है. तो वही मैं कह रही हूँ, it is always it's a balance that you are maintaining. It's a negotiation. कभी आप इधर जाते हो, कभी आप उधर जाते हो. So there will never be a translation which you can, I mean, there is nothing, at least I can't imagine anything called perfection in a translation, because there will always be something which is missing, as we say, which is lost in translation, because what you can do is just bring it as close to the culture as possible. So these are choices that you have to make. Do you want to, I mean, if I say as a post-colonial, I want to make this cultural nuance clear, so I will retain this word, but obviously I will have to retain it in a way, or to explain it in a way where it does not either sound awkward or impossible to understand for the English audience. Because if I fail to do that, I will not be able to communicate my meaning. So communication of meaning authentically and creatively, that is the idea. I mean, अभी मैं आपको एक example देती हूँ, और इसके लिए ना ये nobody is, I mean, I can't think of 100 synonyms for one word. Sitting in my chair, I will have to look at dictionaries, I will have to look at thesaurus. मुझे याद है बहुत साल पहले मैं एक NCERT में workshop करने गई थी, and you know, I was a very new translator at that point of time, and I carried my dictionary, my thesaurus, और जैसे वहाँ बैठे वो workshop थी, मैंने वहाँ पे जाके अपने table पे रख दी. So there were lots of seasoned translators around me, and they kind of, you know, laughed at me and said, बड़ी बच्चा है ये, you know, किताबें लेके आई है करने के लिए. लेकिन वो हफ्ते की वर्कशॉप थी, दूसरे दिन के बाद सारे मेरी डिक्शनरी बोरो कर करके लेके जा रहे थे कि हम जरा ये देख लें, हम जरा ये देख लें. Because it's natural. Nobody can have that kind of a range immediately in the mind. And you know, I have not mentioned the word interpreting at all, but interpreting is even more challenging. Interpreters क्या होते हैं कि आप एक मीटिंग चल रही है, कोई हिंदी में बोल रहा है, साथ साथ उसको इंग्लिश में या दूसरी भाषा में ट्रांसलेट करके बोलते जा रहे हो, तो वो इमेज बहुत चैलेंजिंग है, क्योंकि आपके पास बहुत ज्यादा सोचने का समय नहीं है. So you have to be very quick in your repertoire of words and your vocabulary, so that you can immediately understand, and you need to have a good understanding of the source language also. अभी तो मुझे पंजाबी में कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा, मैं कहूँगी चलो अभी नहीं पता लग रहा, मैं गैप छोड़ दूंगी, मैं ढूंढ लूंगी. But when I'm interpreting, if somebody is speaking in Punjabi and I have to tell that meaning in English, I don't have that luxury. So that's a different part, and you know, becoming an interpreter is also a very viable option as a career.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, next question is by our faculty member, Dr. Neelam ma'am. And over to you, Neelam ma'am. Please ask your question.
So, good afternoon, ma'am. This is a question by one student of mine. He used to be my student. Now he's a teacher in Government College, Chandigarh. His question is, to what extent or how many words can you keep of the original words of the source language to the target language by translating a piece of poetry?
See, I would say that unless there is a particular cultural nuance which you cannot communicate in the new language, why should you use the same source language words? The purpose is to put it in the target language. So if you have words that adequately express the meaning in the target language, then why should do so? It is only to communicate meanings which are, you know, beyond their denotative meaning, which are connotations which you cannot convey in English. You know, अब एक सिंपल वर्ड ले लो, जूठा. मैं बहुत एग्जांपल देती हूँ इसका ट्रांसलेशन में. अगर हम कहते हैं खाना जूठा है, हम नहीं खाएंगे, तो अब उसको आप कैसे ट्रांसलेट करोगे? इंग्लिश में उसका कोई इक्विवेलेंट नहीं है, बिकॉज वो कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ झूठा खाना इंग्लिश में नहीं है, इंग्लिश कल्चर में नहीं है. सो इट्स इम्पॉसिबल. या कजन, अब हिंदी में पंजाबी में बोलते हैं मेरा कजन ब्रदर है, मेरी कजन सिस्टर है. इंग्लिश में आप कभी नहीं पढ़ोगे कजन ब्रदर, कजन सिस्टर. यू विल से ही इज माय कजन, शी इज माय कजन. दैट्स ऑल. सो if there is if I have to say I'm drinking a cup of tea, तो मैं चाय का प्याला पी रही हूँ, तो इसमें मुझे कप को या टी को ऐड करने की जरूरत नहीं है, क्योंकि मैं एग्जैक्टली वो मीनिंग कम्युनिकेट कर सकती हूँ. Then there is no need to bring in source language. And see, if we force source language into the target language, then it will sound awkward. If we are bringing in source language, it should be for a purpose. That purpose can be that you want to create an interesting element. That purpose can be that you want to introduce that idea into this source language, target language. There should be a reason behind it. Not otherwise there is no. If you add too many words, it will be unreadable. फिर वो source language वाला, वो target language वाला पढ़ेगा ही क्यों उसको?
Excuse me, ma'am, I am just interrupting, but in continuation, can I say something here? Ma'am, you just said that sometimes when we have equivalent words, right? So we can use those equivalent words. I have also translated a book. The original book is in Punjabi, Girbi Hoye Man, and I have translated it into English. So there, these words were there, BG, VG, right? So initially I wanted to retain the words BG and VG, but the writer told that no, you should use mother and big brother. Right, so I agree that it's an exact equivalent to BG and VG. But I just want to ask that the kind of feelings, the kind of emotions that are expressed with the use of word BG, I mean, whether the target audience is somebody abroad or even Indian, you know, as you said that it's a huge country, multilingual, but would we be able to convey those emotions and feelings with the word mother when we use it for BG? So that is what I wanted to ask.
Also, BG is, as far as translation is concerned, these words, kinship words now in translation scholars, we don't use mother or brother or anything like that. We do use BG and Papaji and whatever else, Veerji and whatever we want to. I think the author somewhere probably was looking at the older version of translations as they used to happen in the past, where either the words would not be used or if they were used, they were italicized. अब तो हम इटैलिसाइज भी नहीं करते. अगर मुझे चाचा जी कहना है तो मैं चाचा जी ही लिखूंगी और उसको इटैलिसाइज भी नहीं करूंगी और उसको एक्सप्लेन भी नहीं करूंगी कि चाचा जी फादर का यंगर ब्रदर होता है. Right? So these are also developments in translation that are taking place. If you have not already published your translation, I would urge you to take a look again at it and retain BG. I think जो आपका instinctive translation था वो बिल्कुल सही था. That is my view. And if you're, because mother definitely does not convey the same emotion. आप mother की जगह अगर माँ भी use करेंगे ना, MA, that might be closer, because that brings in the intimacy rather than the just the formal BG.
Right, ma'am. Unfortunately, it's already published, but of course there can be another edition to the same book, and the words can be retained, BG. And
how did you translate the title?
Ma'am, The Collateral Mines. Girbi Hoye Man, The Collateral Mines.
See, I mean, if you think about it, there would be different. I can't immediately think of a title for it, but that's what I'm saying. कि कोई आप अगर एक Bollywood गाना ले लो, आप सोचो उसको कैसे translate करोगे? You know, these are exercises that you do. और ये मुश्किल नहीं है, क्योंकि अगर आप realize करोगे, none of us grew up speaking English all the time. English is a second language for all of us. And हम जो हमारा इंस्टिंक्टिव होता है वो हिंदी, पंजाबी, तेलुगु, मराठी, कुछ भी जो हमारी मदर टंग है, हम सबसे पहले उसमें सोचेंगे. So, and the moment we speak, we are translating our thoughts automatically. So it's not that we don't translate, we do translate. Sometimes when we put in too much of an effort to translate, then we go wrong, our language becomes stilted. So, and for anybody who wants to improve their language skills, I would only say, even for students, when they want to learn better English and they want to be able to speak in English, I always tell them that whatever you are thinking, just in your mind, you translate that thought into English. How would you say it if it were English? And then you would automatically realize that translation is not just a simple exercise. आसान नहीं है. ऐसा नहीं है कि इसमें क्या मुश्किल है, मुझे इंग्लिश आती है, हिंदी आती है, इसमें से वर्ड इसका वर्ड यहाँ लगाया, ये लगाया, बन गया. ऐसा नहीं है. It is difficult, it is creative, it is challenging, it is enjoyable, but करके फिर वो then you understand कि हाँ भाई वो meaning convey हो गया कि नहीं. इसका जब मैंने पढ़ा था तो मुझे ये समझ में आया था, तो जब मैं उसको इंग्लिश में पढ़ रही हूँ, क्या मुझे वही समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं? That's the question.
Right, ma'am, that's very right. Thank you so much.
Next question would be by Pallavi. this would be our last question, I think, keeping in mind the time limit of the session that we had planned. Though, ma'am, your lecture has been really interesting. 2 घंटे कैसे बीत गए पता ही नहीं चला, ma'am. और many things have been cleared by you, and we are also supervising students for translation, and it has been a wonderful experience. And we will go back to your PPT, and I think first I need to go through it.
This was such a rough attempt. I just put together all the examples from translations that I was doing just to highlight the problems.
We will draw from your experience, ma'am. You're highly experienced in this field, and it has been thanks to you and thanks to ma'am Tanveer, who have arranged this session for our college, and so many people are benefiting. So one last question from our very hardworking student, Pallavi.
Good morning, ma'am.
Hello, beta.
Thank you, ma'am. इतनी अच्छी knowledge देने के लिए thank you so much, ma'am. मैम लाइक एक वर्ड है पीरा दी चौकी परना, उसको हम उसी फील्ड में कैसे ट्रांसलेट करेंगे? और एक और वर्ड है कोजा, उसका तो मीनिंग ही नहीं समझ आया मैम, तो कैसे उसके
कॉन्टेक्स्ट में पूरा सेंटेंस बताओ, पूरा पैराग्राफ बताओ, किस तरीके से यूज किया है वो बताओ। कोजा तो मेरे ख्याल वो कोई स्लाई और कोई क्या घूमने की सेंस में नहीं होता क्या?
कोजा लाइन में है, जैसे कई बार बच्चा कोजा निकल आता है, कोजा आई डोंट नो द मीनिंग।
नॉट सो इंटेलिजेंट है ना, प्रोबेबली
अगली ओके मैम। और मैम पीरा दे चौकी,
बट यहाँ पे अगली सिंपल अगर हम करेंगे तो शायद वो सेंस ना कन्वे हो। ऑल्सो कि मतलब उस पे इतना प्यार नहीं आता। आई थिंक जो कॉनोटेट यहाँ पे जो कन्वे करना चाह रहे हैं कि उस पे प्यार नहीं आता बच्चे पे।
हाँ जी मैम,
दैट्स द आइडिया दैट यू डोंट, नॉट वेरी एंडियरिंग, नॉट अ वेरी एंडियरिंग चाइल्ड। So those nuances need to be kept in mind कि उसमें क्या सिर्फ शक्ल की अगलीनेस है कि देखने में सुंदर नहीं है, लेकिन कि उसमें इसलिए उसको प्यार करना मुश्किल लगता है।
कोड पे hideous,
हाँ जी मतलब लेकिन वो सिर्फ शक्ल पे जाएगा। The idea that it's difficult to feel affection for the child has to be conveyed.
We use unappealing.
Yes, yeah. Closer, unendearing, unappealing. That's something.
And मैम पीरा दी चौकी पर ना, इसको कैसे उसी फील्ड में ट्रांसलेट?
मुझे मीनिंग नहीं पता, मुझे मीनिंग बताओ, then I can think.
This is go visit some grave of some peer or some any.
Is it meaning? Does it could mean कि आप एक futile efforts में लगे हुए हो कि इधर भी गए?
No, ma'am, this is literal.
It could mean कि desperate हो, आप कुछ भी try करने को तैयार हो. It could mean कि आप खाना पूर्ति कर रहे हो. I don't know in which context it has been used in the story that you are talking about. But exact इसका जो है वो तो यही होगा कि भाई हर दरगाह पे जाके वो pray कर रहे हैं. तो वो desperation भी हो सकती है, वो अंधविश्वास भी हो सकता है. वो
I translate, मैंने इसको ऐसे ट्रांसलेट किया, people attending the company of carolers.
नहीं, carolers पीर नहीं होते.
ओके मैम,
carolers तो सिर्फ वो हैं जो गा रहे हैं.
ठीक है.
और उसका carolers का आपको ये भी ध्यान रखना है कि वो बड़े एक इंग्लिश क्रिसमस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में हम carolers.
हाँ जी.
पीरों को आपने उनका कल्चर बदल दिया.
ठीक है।
रिटेन दैट अब पीर भी गाते थे या सूफी पीर थे या जो भी थे, उनका भी एक सर्टन एक एम्बियंस होता है. तो आपको वो चाहे कुछ आप एडिशनल ऐड करो, पर वो एम्बियंस क्रिएट करना पड़ेगा.
ठीक है मैम.
तो क्या पीरों के डेरे का मतलब क्या है?
ठीक है. थैंक यू सो मच मैम. थैंक यू.
Thank you so much, dear students, for your valuable questions. Now, I would request our student president of Literary Council, Japleen, to deliver the vote of thanks.
And there's a message from Principal Ma'am for Madam Hina. She has thanked you profusely, and there's some network issue with her and she couldn't stay for the whole session. And she conveys her thanks and appreciation for your beautiful illuminating lecture, Ma'am Hina.
She has entered, ma'am. She has just entered.
Ma'am, principal
message.
is there.
Actually, my connection is very unstable. It comes and goes.
Okay,
अभी हो गया है. So I like to thank Ma'am Hina for very nice and explanatory session. उन्होंने जो बताया actually हमको तो वो चीजें we don't realize actually when we read the.
वो पता होती है लेकिन वो शायद हम लोग उस तरीके से सोचते नहीं होंगे. इनफैक्ट मैंने भी जब ट्रांसलेशन शुरू किया और किसी ने मुझे बोला ट्रांसलेशन पे बोलो, तो मैंने कहा मुझे ट्रांसलेशन पे बोलना नहीं आता है, मैं सिर्फ ट्रांसलेशन कर सकती हूँ. But then one begins to think of the process and then learn. But thank you so much for having me here. I enjoyed it and I really enjoyed myself. Thank you.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Okay, Japleen, please.
Am I audible?
Yes.
For every good thing that happens to us, they say we should always be in gratitude. And thus, I would like to take this moment to express a heartfelt thank you to our very honored guest speaker and mentor, Dr. Hiranand Jog, Principal, Vivekanand College, Delhi, for this beautiful and memorable presentation and a wonderful experience enriching us with knowledge and guiding us through. I would also like to thank respected Principal Ma'am, SCD Government College, Ludhiana, Dr. Gurpreet Kaur, for providing us with an opportunity to learn more and expand our horizons above and beyond the curriculum. And Head of Department, Post-Graduation in English, Dr. Tanveer Likhari, under whose able guidance we have been able to envision and successfully manage this event. I also acknowledge the entire faculty of the English department who have guided and motivated us at every step, and the core team behind the organization of this seminar for their efforts and the hours that they have put to keep the show running. But a special thank you to all the dear participants and viewers for trusting us and riding with us on this beautiful journey of learning and broadening perspectives. Thank you one and all. Wishing you a healthy and safe weekend. I sign off. Japleen Kaur, President, English Literary Council, SCD Government College, Ludhiana.
I would also like to express my thanks to the students for their patience and for their attention, and all my colleagues also. It was great to be in touch with you, and I would always welcome any opportunity to interact with you on any issues on translation especially. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am.